What's going on, YouTube? Legions Gaming here. I'm joined by Inspector Jeff, Kitsurugi, and Impervious. We're all going to be talking about the Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1, or if they're going to change it, we don't know yet. And I'm going to start off by introducing them all and having them tell their story on how they got involved with Final Fantasy VII in the first place. Original, obviously. And I'm going to get started with Inspector Jeff.
Yo, what's up, guys and girls? Inspector Jeff here. I got into Final Fantasy VII a long time ago. I'm a lifelong fan. I first found out about the game through a gaming article, PlayStation Magazine, whatever it was. And as I was reading it, I was reading about Final Fantasy VII, which had come out, a few months before. And part of the article was this really controversial, like, sexual innuendo scene. And me being a, horny 12-year-old, I was like, I need this game. I need to know what this is. So I had to go with my mom to buy the game, and she took me to the old electronic boutique, or EB Games, way back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I picked up the game, ended up playing through it, completely fell in love with it, from the story to the characters, music, etc. Just, the definitive gaming experience for me. But I never really found out what that scene was until further playthroughs, where I ended up finding out that the lewd sexual scene happened to be in Corneo's mansion. When you get to peek through the little peek holes, and there's sort of slow, jazzy music, and you see some legs moving and stuff. So, as it ended up being me just being a little thirsty, and here I am, 20 years later, still thinking and talking about the game. And now we have the remake here in front of us, and now we get to talk about that.
Dude, I think I remember that article, if I'm being honest with you.
I want to say it was PlayStation Magazine or something.
It was,
yeah.
It was that or EGM.
Yep.
EGM, yeah. Kitsurugi, you want to go next?
Yeah. Hey everyone, it's Kitsurugi here. So mine's kind of weird. I got into Final Fantasy VII because I had friends always talking about on the school bus, and I remember I was about your age, Jeff. I was 12, 13, and I was hanging out with a buddy who we were acting out and playing the game, just pretending and everything. And eventually I was like, I really need to play this game. So I begged my mom, and we went to a used game shop, and they didn't have it. So the person there was like, well, if they want to get into RPGs, I got into Wild Arms because of that, because that was the first RPG I played on the PlayStation. And then come December that year, I got my hands on Final Fantasy VII, and then it was just all downhill from there, because I was just like, I need to play more Final Fantasy games.
Downhill, but going uphill at the same time.
Oh yeah. My love of JRPGs just went from hey, Wild Arms is really cool, and then Final Fantasy VII going, I need every JRPG out there.
Man, my story, when I tell you guys mine, is going to be completely opposite from you guys. All right, Impervious, go ahead.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Impervious. Long time Final Fantasy fan. Much like...
Oh, that poster, though, I just noticed that. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
that's
the poster boy, dude.
School. That's old school.
Oh, you can tell.
It's a scroll. It's actually an actual scroll, bro.
Yeah, dude,
that's why it's the scripture, dude.
But yeah, I actually got into Final Fantasy VII very much like Kitsuragi, where I was your resident jam pack, freaking Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon player. I didn't know anything else about storytelling in video games. I was like, what? Let me just jump over these boxes and get these freaking pow fruits or whatever they are. One of my friends in school, he was like, yo, have you ever played Final Fantasy VII? And I was like, I never played. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. And he's like, you've never played an RPG before? Do you know what that is? I was like, is that magic? What are you talking about? This guy literally taught me Magic the Gathering 2 weeks prior, and I was like, is that a magic card? What are you talking about? And he's like, yo, man, I'll bring it to you, and I'll let you borrow it, dude. Don't give it back until you're done with it. And I was like, okay, all right, fine. So I started playing it, and it's around that time for me, and where I grew up, the town that I grew up, it wasn't very safe to. It's one of those typical low-income neighborhoods where if you grow up in this environment and you don't have something to attach yourself to stay at home, you don't really make it out in the best of ways. So Final Fantasy VII for me was a blessing, because it gave me a reason to stay home and want to explore more of these universes. And because of that, my mom kind of embraced that. and she was like, you know what, stay home, play these stupid ass things on these stupid CDs that I'm spending $50 each on, as long as you're staying home. And so from Final Fantasy VII, it just opened up the door. I went back and freaking played the Suikoden series, the Wild Arms, the freaking Chrono Triggers, the Chrono Cross. Like, I've played everything that I could possibly get my hands on, so long as my mom had the spare income, and I would like slash my allowances just so that she could have those extra $50 every however many months just to get me a game. And it's been life-changing for me. So to see this game come back, and me hoping for it to come back since that 2005 tech demo,
Oh my God.
I've been hoping for it, and I got goosebumps right now talking about it, dude.
Yeah,
This game is in my hands, and I still don't believe it. As many times as I've looked at it and watched other people play it, like, I'm in a loop right now where if I'm not playing it, I'm watching someone else and their reaction on it. I'm losing my mind here, but I love it. I can't wait for the next part.
Dude, same. Before I tell everyone my story, how many of you guys in the opening credits like started getting to
Yo, let me tell you this right now, okay? I knew that I was excited. It was beyond, I mean, that's not even worth saying, but when the game actually got here, I got it on Thursday, right before the release day. I got the physical copy because I got the collector's edition. So I had told my wife and my kids right beforehand. I got 3 kids running around the house, and I said, listen, Daddy's got the living room, Daddy's got the TV for the next couple days. Like, you guys can watch whatever, like, grow up. I don't care. When the game came, I sat on the couch, and I remember, like, my wife was like, well, are you going to play it? And I said, yeah, but I'm not ready to. She's like, what do you, like, you've been pacing around the house all day. I literally sat down like 10 minutes later. I said, listen, I don't want to stream this game. I don't want to YouTube it. This is just for me. I don't want to share it with anybody, but I want you here with me. For some reason, I just needed her to be with me. When I turned the game on and it started going, and I'm seeing the entire opening sequence as, like, I'm watching the extremely beautiful current gen game, I'm immediately, like, seeing in my other eye just the flashbacks of how many times I've watched that intro. And when it kind of pans up from Aerith, and then it kind of goes up Midgar headquarters tower, and then you get the title scene, I immediately started bursting out
That's
crying.
When I lost it too.
And like I was like laughing and crying, and my 10-year-old daughter is like staring at me like, Dad, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, dude, me too. Right when that music went
dun, I just got
and it showed the remake, I was like, holy shit.
I might start crying right now.
Oh my God.
I know. I'll say this. I didn't even make it to that part before I started tearing up. Like, as soon as I
was Aerith, right?
Game, no,
Kitsuguri was crying in the minute the guy showed up in his driveway with the box, dude. He's like, I forget COVID, dude. He's hugging the guy, crying with him, dude.
No, as soon as I hit, you get the title screen, I hit that start button.
Oh yeah,
buttons, and it goes to the original.
The sword, dude.
The Buster sword in the ground,
and it has the same sound effects when you're like going through the menu.
Oh yeah. Right there, I just started losing it, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I was saying in my stream, "I'm like, oh my God, this game's actually real, guys."
Yeah,
I'm legitimately playing this, and as it progressed through, it just got strong. That emotion got stronger and stronger. I was just like tearing up, and then when that first chord, when the official Final Fantasy VII comes up, I was completely on at that moment.
And like I sat there just crying for a couple of minutes, and like I was looking at them like laughing, and then then it shows like the train, and like even like the train is like showing, and then when Cloud flips off, and when you first get control of Cloud, I immediately paused it and I walked away, and my wife's like, listen, so you okay? She's like, I've only seen you cry at our wedding and the birth of our children and this game. And I'm like, okay, there, you just chalk it up, put it on my permanent record. But
like, babe, you're a close second.
I didn't tell her the order. Hopefully she's not watching.
So
before you go on, she asked me, why are you crying? And I said, because like this is 20 years of a game that I have played over and over again. I've become extremely invested. I've got t-shirts and art, and I've loved it every time someone asks me. So it's like it was a dream that I never thought was going to come true. 10, 15 years ago, before we heard anything of it, all I wanted was an updated version of that game because things were rapidly growing so much, and we have it. We've played it. We've beaten it. We're not done with it. It's just
I can. Oh man. There's no matter how many times I go back and play the game, I'm not getting sick of it. It's been so long
100%.
since I've felt out a game. What made me get into the original? You guys are gonna laugh at me, but obviously you can tell by this fucking tank top. You're gonna be like, this guy. JRPG. Okay. So my aunt used to babysit me, and I used to watch my cousins play, and they were very nerdy. And I always told my parents, like, I don't want to go there. They're freaking nerds. And they were playing this game. I'm like, oh god, RPG isn't that like what like magics and like dungeons and stuff? I'm like, this is stupid. And then I'm watching him play it, and I was like, holy shit, this is cool. And he was so far into the game already. He was at the Temple of Ancients. So I remember when I first saw him play this. Yeah. So he was at, was it Temple of Ancients City of Ancients? Yes. So he's going through there, and I'm like, oh wow, he's chasing down this girl, Aerith, like trying to find her. This is actually cool. And the story was like enticing me, and I was like 10 years old.
Ares,
and I was like, holy
way.
crap, this.
Yeah. Original Ares.
Yeah, original series. Yeah. By the way, if I haven't said already, we're talking about all spoilers.
Spoiler
alert. If you don't want to be, if you don't want to be spoiled, go away right now. Come back after you play the original or watch a video or something. So I'm watching him go through and like, you know, do the little puzzles to get through the dungeon and everything. And then like then you see Cloud like about to hit her with the sword, and he stops. I'm like, yo, why is he gonna kill her? And I'm like getting all into it. And then fucking Sephiroth just comes down. I'm like, what's going on? And he just stabs her right in the back. I was like, oh my god. And I actually got sad, and I only was watching the game for like an hour. Yeah. And my cousin was like bawling his eyes out. I was like, holy shit, how powerful does the game have to be to make you cry? So I was like, dude, the first thing I did was I went to my mom. I was like, I will return all these games just to get this game. Like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Ninja Gaiden, all of them. Take them all. Siphon Filter, take all of them. I want that game. And I remember she got it, and I went through it, and I got as far as Jeff was talking about the mansion, and I didn't know that you needed a memory card. So then I begged my mom for like a week or two to buy me a memory card, and then ever since then, what's funny though is I never beat it when I was that young, because I don't know if it was just like too hard for me at the time when I was like 10 years old. I went back and played it again like when I was 14 and ended up playing through the whole game again and finishing it. And then ever since then, I have bought it on like every single re-release. Like if it's come on PS3, remaster, PC, like I've gotten it every single time. Like I almost
mobile,
go back,
Switch, like nowadays.
Yeah,
get it on
same.
Steam. Like what platform do you want it on?
I think I have like a thing where I don't even like plan it, but like at least once a year or like every 2 years, I go through and play the whole thing again, because that's how good of a game is, dude. Like it's just such a good freaking game. Like I don't think it's probably my favorite JRPG of all time, and then that got me into like Chrono Trigger and like all these other games that I would never have touched, like Dragon Quest and all that, because I used to think those games were like wicked nerdy.
Yeah.
And now I was like, holy crap! Like I love this genre. Like if this game is this good, I wonder how all the other Final Fantasies are, and I would go back and play all the other ones.
Can we? I'm glad that you said that you did get stuck on the mansion because of your memory card. I got stuck in the desert. I got stuck in the desert, dude.
I had to get, so that's another thing. I had to have my mom buy me. She worked at Toys R Us, so I was wicked lucky. She bought me the strategy guide, and I was like, holy, thank God. And then I saw all this stuff that I missed, and I was like, holy shit, I got to start this game over.
Dude, I
missed all this stuff.
I thought I was at endgame. I thought I was at endgame at the desert. Like once you get past the gold saucer, you get sent to the after you see everything going down with Sephiroth slashing everybody. I was like, okay, this must be the end of the game. Like these these guys got sent to jail. Why the hell do I have 2 extra discs then? This is the end of the game right here.
Right.
I've never played a multiple disc game. I got to I was lost, dude. I was so lost. I didn't understand the concept of not going out, just go right.
Yep.
I went straight out.
Which is crazy because like at that point in the game, it's only like what, 10 hours?
Yeah, man, dude, I spent 22 extra hours there. I was one-shotting the big worm, dude.
That's sand.
And I gave it back to my friend. He's like, yo, what'd you think of the end? I was like, I one-shot the worms. He's like, what worm? he's like, what worm? I was like, I'm done with the game. He's like, where are you? What are you talking about? And I was like, dude, the big worm in the desert. I was at endgame, right? That's the end of the game. I'm I just have to training to kill it in one shot. That's that's the end of it, right?
Literally the worst ending of all time, if that's what it was.
Yeah,
Dude,
for real.
I thought it was like the most.
You just die in the desert.
I thought it was
That's
the most morbid
Game's over.
ending of all time. I was like, oh my god, this game's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just stuck in a desert and I just fight for the rest of my life. Like,
I think remake wise, I think the first thing I want to talk about is because obviously we've all beat it, right?
Yes.
Okay. What did you guys think of the ending?
wow.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited for what it did. To kind of get into specifics here, I was not ready for the whole scene of Cloud flying into Sephiroth, which is from the ending of the original.
That is like,
And I'm like,
that
wait
is
a
like
second.
Picture.
I'm like, wait a second.
from the
Why
original.
are we seeing this in part 1 of the remake? And I'm going to get into a few things about Sephiroth in a little bit when we touch on him, because to me, it I won't get. I'll start rambling. But the ending for me, it was just like fantastic.
Oh, we could all start rambling for
Oh,
hours
I know.
if we wanted to
So-
on this game. My God.
It was just fantastic the way that they incorporated that, but it didn't play out the way. And I was hesitant at first. I
I
was like,
love that, dude.
if they let me do Omni Slash right now, I'm gonna have a big problem with it.
Yeah.
I am really going to be upset that they put that.
I don't know if you noticed, but he kind of tried
Yeah.
Yeah,
did
he
try.
tries.
against
he-
against Sephiroth, and Sephiroth just like,
Not enough.
He was
not enough.
bruh.
He
it was
said not
weird
enough.
because he was like, it's like from that scene when you look back at it, it's like you remember the scene for scene and you remember how it's supposed to go, but
Mhm.
like that gave me the hint after watching the spoiler mode that we
Oh,
all
yes,
all
yeah.
watched. After
Yeah,
it gave me the
with
thought
Maximilian
process
and
like
stuff.
this guy knew about that scene. He knew about that
Mhm.
scene. He knew exactly what's going to happen. That's how he knew how to counter it and just play with him.
Yeah.
It was
I have a hard time thinking that the 4 of us are not going to reference that video.
Oh no, there's no way.
That they did a fantastic job with
They did.
breaking it down.
Max is a god.
Maximilian,
Like,
dude, shout
that-
out to him, dude. Like, yeah, like
Dude, he's one of my favorite RPG. Like, ever since all this started getting big before the game came out, I was watching his journey to remake all
Yeah,
that shit. Like
yeah.
that video that like actually made me cry watching. I was like, yo, I feel his
Yeah.
emotion.
so.
But tell me how like this game's story, like 90, I'd say like 80-90% was all pretty accurate, right? Like
He's-
everyone's like, oh, I better be just like the original. And then when you get to like President Shinra, right? It's just like
Yeah,
it was,
can just does a 180. I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Barrett's dead.
Oh, dude!
Everyone like you bring it back to life. I was like, what the fuck is going on? I was going insane.
At that point, I was like, wait a second, are they really going to get this weird with it? Well, like, 'cause
yeah, I was
was-
kind of upset.
I was thrown off when they walked into President Shinra's office and he wasn't dead, and I'm like, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
such a dope
Yeah.
scene though in the original, because you walk in and there's this
Yeah.
massive
It
sword
was
coming out of his
bad,
back, you're like, and the music.
I kind of upset that they didn't have the whole us getting captured thing. I know why they didn't,
Yeah.
but because like obviously our
also-
characters are very strong, and this is a remake. It's a lot different. But it was just like I was like, man, that scene was so crazy because they had that little interaction between Tifa and Aerith, like the kind of
Yeah.
like competitiveness that they had. He was like, oh, it was one date, remember? Aerith says, and then Tifa's like, oh, so that's what's going on. And she was all like, I really wanted to see that in the
Oh, yeah.
remake, and then like them go to sleep and then wake up and you have that eerie like music playing,
Yeah.
and you just see a trail of blood, and like I really wanted that, but they didn't have it. But I mean, I still like where they went, but I kind of wish they had that.
I like the
So,
new version too.
and,
My-
and
my
that's go ahead, Kitsurugi.
Yeah, my big thing about that changes in that chapter specifically is you get that entire ancients scene where they're talking about the ancients, talking about the
Oh,
Section,
that was so good.
and then it switches to Meteor. It switches to
yeah,
Sephiroth cutting down Tifa and Barrett, and you're just like, what's going on here? Why is this here? And then it moves into that point where you have President Shinra, who's not dead yet, and the entire Barrett practically getting revenge
Mm-hmm.
to President Shinra.
I love that
dying
scene
and Barrett
of,
taken
of
out.
him saving the president. Like I
Oh, yeah.
love that
I
scene,
love
dude.
that.
That scene was awesome.
And that whole sequence, how they changed it up, and I think a lot of the some of the bigger things that they changed, knowing that we're going into multiple games in this series, they really did remake the game while keeping, like you said, Legions, 90 to 95% of the story. So it's like the greatest remaster we've ever gotten, but it's not. It's a remake. And anyone that came into this thinking, like for me personally, I was like, I don't care about
They're
minor
remaking the
changes. They
original.
need
Yeah.
they need to give me everything that I did in the original. And I knew that part 1 was just going to be Midgar, so like I had to temper my expectations, and what I got was more. But with the ending and how they're implying how things are going to be different, but we still don't know if they are going to be different. To me, it's just like, can I have the next, second, third, fourth, fifth? Give me a million. Give me a million of these. I'll buy the collector's edition for all of them.
Give me the next season.
Like, I'm ready, dude. Sorry, kids, you're not going to college until you're way older.
And we're gonna talk about like Aerith throughout this, but dude, she has the most like intense character progression I've ever seen in the game. But you have to play through the game a second time. Have you guys finished it a second playthrough?
I haven't finished
it multiple times.
I'm at chapter 15. I'm at Shinra on hard.
My reason is I started hard mode and I was like, pause. I can't do this. I just finished this last week. Like, I need to like take a couple, because I don't want to be done with it. I don't want to get through everything. I still want to come back to it. So, and I know that I have more to come back to. And Aerith is, man, that one scene in the garden.
Like, it's interesting.
Yeah, dude. Because at first I didn't get that scene. I had to play through a second time to get that scene.
I got it.
Because I got Tifa first.
I definitely picked up on it early, and then it wasn't until our Lord and Savior Maximilian dude talked about it in the video, and they kind of broke that down, that it was like, whoa, dude, there's the fourth, fifth, and seventh eye coming open right now.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, there's some stuff that a lot of people don't talk about too. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but even it started even as early, and I didn't notice this till I played the second time. When you fall through the church and you meet Aerith, right, and Reno comes through the door. In the original, she asks you, like, can you be my bodyguard? Like, and she don't even know that he's in soldier at this point, right?
Yeah.
So she just looks at him. And Reno's like, "Who's this guy?" And she's like, "Oh, that's my bodyguard. He's a soldier." And and you didn't catch this in like the first time,
right.
But he just goes. Cloud goes, "Huh?"
Yeah, she knows,
and
dude.
Cloud even does a "huh?" Like, what are you talking? How do you know that? And then she keeps going, and then I forgot what she said. Right after that, she's like, "Oh, I guessed because of the sword." So she's talking about Zack because right, because like Zack has the sword.
She obviously didn't guess. So she knows.
But no, she didn't guess. She knew.
She knows, man.
And then like and another thing I didn't notice, right? I just thought at first the Arbiters of Fate, I just thought they were just like weird. I just didn't know what they were at first, right? At that point, the plot goes
the Kingdom Hearts part.
Yeah. And then I was like, "Oh, this is just Nomura doing his weird ass fucking magical shit." And then he's gonna finish off Reno, and I didn't even really notice this, right? And Aerith screams like, "No, don't!" And then the ghosts come up. So you're like, "Holy shit!" She fucking knows. Like, she has to like keep everything on track, and it just keeps on going with small shit that you never really notice unless you play the second time after you see how she's like a fucking sage at the end of this, right? She's like directing the fucking party. It's like, what?
It's that garden scene when Cloud walks out of Aerith's mom's house. And
don't fall in love with me.
Don't fall in love with me. Like, everything about him is wrong. And it's just like, what does she know and how is she able to know all of this? Because clearly the Sephiroth that we have in this remake is not the Sephiroth that we know from the original.
That man is all.
So that's what I want to talk about, right?
Can we move into Sephiroth? Because I'm like,
I want.
I think so. A lot of people think he's from the future. I don't think that. I think because in Advent Children, right? Obviously, this has to be Sephiroth from Advent Children. He has the black 100%. Wing. He only evolved into that in Advent Children, right? Yeah. I think because he's infesting the life stream in Advent Children in the future. Right, and like he, the whole geostigma thing. I think that he can commune like through the life stream
with himself,
like, his past self. Yes, like or him or Genova or those cells somehow, because he's in the planet's life stream, and the planet has a way of keeping fate intact. Right, so I think that he is communing with himself and pretty much telling him like, this is you need to stray them from the path or else you're gonna die. Like, you're gonna call Meteor, but you're still gonna die, and he doesn't want to die, obviously. That's what I think. I don't think he's from the future. Yeah, I will never be more than just a memory. That's what he said in Advent Children as he gets defeated by Cloud again. But he's still in the life stream because he even said in Advent Children, everyone that dies by geostigma goes back into the planet and infects the life stream. So that's probably why we see that future with Red 13. That 500 years from now, the humans are extinct, right? Yeah, that whole vision that Red 13 saw.
Wait, you notice, right? Even like the Harbinger,
The
the Harbinger. That's the 500-year version of Sephiroth.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
even
those
still,
are
like,
the geostigmas.
yeah.
Well, I mean, it does really look like a giant heartless, but
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's definitely. So is Heartless. Yeah.
I
was
started that fight and I was like, "What the fuck?
was
This
waiting
is the
for
start of
Anton to
Kingdom
come
Hearts
out.
3."
I will state this: when I first saw the Harbinger, I sat there and I'm like, "Wait, we're gonna fight Bizarro Sephiroth right now?"
Yeah.
Like that was the
And
confusing
then-
part, and it's not. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. No, the thing that I find funny with Sephiroth is I feel we've got two. We still have the.
I was just
Yeah,
say
I
that.
think that too.
I think we have
that
two
too.
different versions of it.
We have this.
because he still has Cloud seeing the original visions where he saw in the original game, and then I think there's another one
we have,
where
we
he's
have
like,
the life stream, what we can call the life stream Sephiroth that is not bound by time, that knows both past,
Just
present,
fucking with him.
future.
Yeah.
And then you've still got Genova, who is going to be its own thing, still progressing throughout the normal timeline. I don't think Genova 100% knows what's going on because she was the calamity. She's not technically she's the alien. She's not part of the life stream.
and Sephiroth is the one in the live stream, not her.
So we're going to see that we're having two different Sephiroths because the Sephiroth Cloud is getting visions of that no one else can see is live stream Sephiroth, where the Sephiroth we all see in front of Genova's tank is the numbers that are being created by Genova.
Well, I mean, he's cellular, so I mean, he can infect anything that has the Geosigma or Genova cells in it. So,
That has the S cells.
Yeah,
so
cells.
any of the clones or like in the future, like that whole fight too, the Heartless fight. I was one of the people that thought that was like, as soon as I was fighting them, because I did the assess on them, I was like, holy shit, it says a being from the future. And I immediately thought that's Cloud with the sword, that's Barret with the guns.
That's what everyone thought.
But then, and then I watched the spoiler alert video with Maximilian dude, and he was talking about Yazoo and all of them from Advent Children. I was like, holy shit, yeah, that's literally all of them, same weapons, same style of fighting, and to the point where I started watching the fight scenes with the Advent Children.
Yeah.
And seeing their moves, I was like, holy shit, they do the same moves that they do in the fucking remake. That's actually crazy.
You can tell that this remake is not just focused on the original. I mean, they added and
the whole compilation.
Exactly, because you've got a lot of Crisis Core, you've got Advent Children, but for me,
I want to talk about that a lot.
I'm sure we will, but for me, in a more generic sense of Sephiroth, right? For me, growing up, Sephiroth was the quintessential villain. Massive sword, just very dominating presence. Like, he was legitimately scary in that game, and every time you come in contact with him or you think back about him, like, I think like some of my most memorable times are like the deepest memories of Sephiroth are how he was like figuring out what had happened when he was in the Nibelheim basement, and how he's like cracking his head, and then he loses it, and then he's just like, you know what,
that theme, dude,
he doesn't lose it, he just becomes this enlightened individual, and he's like, I know what I need to do, and I have the power to do it. So throughout the rest of the original game, he's just this omnipotent badass villain that you're trying to stop. In the remake,
I can't wait to see them do that, dude.
In the remake, he's just this like godlike being,
menace, dude. He's godlike menace.
He's influencing you right from the beginning of the game, and he's not just tormenting Cloud. He's like he's tormenting us. We see the feather drop in the reactor. We see these flashbacks, and we're just constantly getting these little glimpses of Sephiroth, whether it's his voice or whether it's the feather or him popping up, and it's like constantly he's coming in because he's in so much more control than he was in the original, where the original he was just like, you know what, I have the ability to do what I want. Oh wait, there's this whole situation, like I'm not a real person, I came from this alien being. Okay, so now I'm just going to take on the role of a god and I'm going to take over the world. But it's so much more pronounced in the beginning here, where we only see glimpses and rumors and whispers of Sephiroth until disc 2. You get through so much of the story, and you're constantly
I can't wait to see them.
You're like chasing this ghost, right? But in the remake, he is ever present right from the get-go, and it's just so interesting to me how Cloud has these flashbacks and these deep moments where he's like seeing things, and it's because he is a part of Sephiroth in some way.
you see how much he affects Cloud straight out of the beginning of the game, because just that feather falling and him immediately already thinking of Sephiroth, you're like, holy shit, like it already fucked with him. Because when you get to that scene where he's kind of like distracting him from meeting Aerith, like leading him away, and he sees Nibelheim like on fire, like in the city when he's walking, and then he's just leading him away, and then Cloud even says, how's this possible? I killed you with my own hands. Like, he doesn't even remember this at this point in the original yet, and he's already talking about it. Like, and then this just threw everything off with him not going on the second mission, and then them have to, the Arbiters of Fate having to hurt Jesse and all that just to get him to go on the mission. Dude, that was at first I was so confused. I was like, wait, I'm not going on a mission? Whoa, what's going on?
Dude, two things with that. I think it's Sephiroth, man. He's just it's interesting, right? Because I think as a character, he is even smarter than how he was portrayed in the original, right? Like,
oh yeah, because he's all knowing now. Like he knows.
Yeah. So like I think he is purposely giving Cloud these visions, using the geostigma, like the visions of the future that he wants to prevent or whatever. I think he's purposely putting these in front of him because he's, as you played the original game, he's been there always to mind fuck you.
Yeah, he always mind fucks Cloud. And I see people saying stupid stuff, saying all over the internet, oh, why this is stupid the way they're going with this. Why wouldn't he just try to kill Cloud and get it over with? He still needs Cloud to give him the black material to summon Meteor. Like, and he's he still needs it somewhat to go the way he wants because he still wants to summon Meteor.
The dude's still
like, he
stuck
still
in
needs Cloud. Yeah, like he still needs Cloud to give him the fucking black material in the little crystal in the life stream.
Yeah, but in the other, so I think that he's going to, I think that these visions that he's giving him are on purpose so that he plants that in it, like the praying scene, right? He wants that scene to be placed in his mind and be at the forefront, so that when we get to that area, or one of the many areas, but that area in specifically, it won't happen there. It won't happen there because Cloud is looking for that. You know, he's like, I'm gonna prevent it. I'm gonna prevent it, and we're gonna get swerved as an audience because it's gonna hurt so much more when it happens in a completely different area. And we're like, oh, she doesn't die here. Oh.
Yeah, I don't think people like, oh, what if they kill Tifa? I don't think they're gonna do that. I think they're trying to make us think that we can save her. Like, there's hope.
I really hope that
and then they're just
playing with us, and like I don't want them to have some like crazy, left turn where someone else dies. Like I do want them to stick true. Like Aerith needs to die. I hate to say it.
Yeah,
she's such a
I do too.
character.
She's one of my favorite characters, but that was like the most. Like, that's what made this game so huge. Like, that's one of the most famous deaths in like all video game history.
For me, like the original Aerith was just like part of the party. Like once I replayed the game after knowing what happens to her, there was a lot of replay throughs where I was like, well, I know that she's gonna die, so I'm just not gonna worry about her too much.
Yeah.
In the remake, I'm like, I need her to be like here all the time because like her character is so well developed, and then you get onto what we were talking about a few minutes ago about how she knows way more than she's letting everybody on. Like she's well aware of what needs to happen, and knowing what happens to her, we know she's probably aware that she knows she needs to die in order to give up the holy material and basically save the world in part 42 or whatever we get in 2050 when it's all done.
Honestly, I think optimistically, I think we're going to get it by 2021, the end of the year, or 2022.
I mean, we know they're
I think
because they've been working on it already for a year. Yeah, because they've been working on it for a year.
January,
and they already have all the
assets.
The models done. They have all the assets. Like, and honestly, I think this next everyone's talking about open world. I don't think it's gonna be open world. I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be linear.
It's gonna be very linear. I don't think we'll get the map like the Final Fantasy 15 map until.
No, I think it'll be more like Final Fantasy 10. I think it's gonna be more like 10.
I don't think so.
No,
because they're at this point. Look at how late this game came out. You got to think about like logistically and technologically, right? Like, look at how late this game came out. This game's basically the Swan Song RPG for the PS4 and current generation.
Yep.
Like next gen.
Oh yeah, it's already almost beating God of War and Spider-Man. And so,
Yeah, and then look at next gen, right? Look at next gen, and even still, look at what Spider-Man did. The technology is already there to be able to do open world. It's whether
it's just the time
whether they want to do it, and with the fidelity that Square does, like when it comes to obviously graphical power, look at these guys.
I know.
Like when they put out a game, it's like
it's just like look how long it took them to make 10.
Well,
I mean,
there's
15.
a lot of there's a lot of factors.
There's a lot of issues with 15,
you know,
right
like Nomura and I think that they handled it poorly.
I think they did this quickly.
I think
because
they don't. You know what's funny is one of my buddies is. I'm going to take the words out of your mouth here. If they don't do it quickly, they're going to lose steam of all the people that they tried to get into Final Fantasy VII. Like guys like us, we're literally.
I've been waiting 23 years. I can wait another fucking 5 years
right now to pre-order. I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
we're not eating next week, kids. We're playing it
right. So can I? Going back to like the Sephiroth Aerith talk real quick.
Yeah.
Something towards the end, Aerith explains, we're doing this, we're changing. If we step through, we're changing destiny.
When they're standing on the highway there.
Yeah. So here's the funny part. You're getting this and you're getting that thing of, everything is going to change. We're going to be changing so much in this game for the next games and blah, blah, this and that. But what is the quintessential thing Sephiroth dates right when you meet him? After
7 seconds.
No, it's not the 7 seconds. It's Cloud. Join me, and together we can change destiny.
Yep.
In other words,
the
party is playing to Sephiroth.
Yeah.
He wants everything to change.
This is what he wants.
He's been controlling the Arbiters of Fate. 100%.
Yeah, at the end, you're literally fighting the Advent children from the future. Like the whole fighting Bahamut. It's literally them summoning Bahamut from Advent children. Like I didn't notice that until obviously I watched that spoiler mode video and I was like, holy crap, that is actually insane.
You know what I love about you know what I love about that? It's Nomura kind of telling us that the continuity of the compilation of FF7 wasn't the way that he would have envisioned. So he kind of put all these elements here in one, and he put it into the story that, hey, Sephiroth wants you to kill these guys because he doesn't want these guys to happen because of what happens to him.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're technically weaker versions of him and he takes over their bodies and he's not as strong as he would like to be. But it's really Nomura telling you, hey, we're bringing this into this game and we're killing these guys early so that whatever happened in Advent Children, technically by you killing them now, is null and void. Zack is living, so technically because he's living now,
can we talk about that next?
That's null and void. You know what I mean? He's trying to give you okay, this is the definitive path of what I would do if I had all of control of 7. Instead of it, this director did the servers. This director did this
that game was so bad.
Which I adore Crisis Core, but it had its issues.
I do too.
It had its issues, but that was the second video game to ever make me cry.
Crisis Core. Oh my god, his death. Oh my god, dude! I thought they were gonna show that.
I have to go ahead and admit that I've never played Crisis Core. I never had a PSP. So thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. But
get this guy out of here.
No, but a few years ago, I had to, kind of one of my, semi-annual or annual replays. I was like, you know what? There was that game Crisis Core. So I ended up watching a bunch of YouTube videos on it because I had to know, why was it such a big deal? And I knew that at this point, I'm probably not going to be able to get my hands on it unless I find.
It's all over YouTube. They have the 3-hour movie things of all the cutscenes.
Came up on my feed yesterday. It's like 4 hours and 15 minutes, and it's all of the cutscenes.
Yeah, I had to rewatch that a couple months ago before the game came out because I was like, just in case they talk about Genesis and all this stuff, and Hojo kind of does a little bit. The G cells. So I was like, I'm gonna rewatch this because I don't remember everything. Obviously that game was such a long time ago on the PSP. I don't remember everything, so I had to rewatch that. But what did you guys think? Because I want to get into that before this video goes on too long. What did you guys think about Zack, the whole alternate timeline?
I don't know that I like it.
Debacle.
I don't know that I like it when games mess with timelines like that. Like for me, it's like
it gives me a very Infinity War feel.
Well, and I mean, obviously, this remake is going to be influenced by a lot of things. Number one, it's going to be influenced by the original story, but it's also going to be influenced, whether we like it or not, by popular, pop culture that's been successful over the last 10 years. But for me, knowing vaguely the story of Zack in the original game and then finding out more with Crisis Core, I don't really know that him and Cloud walking away at the end is the full shot there.
Oh
Like,
no, I don't think so either.
So like for me, like if he's alive in the first one, it's sort of like a Game of Thrones thing where like they're just kind of like pulling us along, and then like right at the beginning of part 2 or episode 2, whatever they're going to call
Shoot
it,
him in the back.
there's going to be something to kill him. Because like for me, like if they're really going to start messing with time, then the story gets very convoluted and it feels like too much is happening. And I ran into that during my Kingdom Hearts playthrough.
Oh god, I couldn't even finish that.
There was so much that it was just like, wait, why are we like talking about things that didn't happen, but because there's like a time loop, we can make it happen. Like for me, I don't want to see it go that way. But at the same time, like if they do go that route, I have full confidence in Katase and Nomura that they're going to be able to wrap it up neatly so that it's like, oh shit, that makes a lot of sense. That's actually pretty cool.
So
I'm on the same boat as you. I think that they did that because like they know that the next part's not coming out for a while, right? So look how many people are talking about this. So many like people are gonna be talking about this for months, like a year from now, like still.
And there's going to be more
like,
that comes out. Maximilian Do's going to have 14 levels by the time the next game comes out.
yeah, seriously.
So like I think he's doing all this to make people keep talking about it and keep hype, like waiting about what's gonna happen. And then I think you're gonna see like a whole thing, and then they're just gonna. I have two theories. This is gonna happen or something else. I think he's just gonna get shot in the back because in the original in Crisis Core he fights off all those guys. A lot of people forget that he doesn't die against them. He fights off all those enemies, right? He survives.
Yeah.
And then he gets fucking ambushed by 3 more and gets shot in the back.
Yeah, so
and then that's how it ends.
So that's the funny part is that Destiny's Crossroads where you see Zack and Cloud walking towards the cliffside, and then Cloud and Aerith and the rest of the party are walking away from the cliffside.
Yeah.
That cliffside's where Zack dies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
he puts
the
his sword
scene.
there.
And then
Zack
Cloud
dies
picks up
right
the sword.
there.
He says, "This is my you're my living legacy." Right there. That's
dude,
like
you're
where he
my
says
living
everything.
legacy, dude.
That's the second time I cried in a video game.
That right there, that makes me think. It's like, all right, we saw all this, and he fought. Everyone's like, he lived. I'm like, I don't think so because he's heading to his death right there.
Yeah,
he's so injured, and that's where he gets shot in the back.
And I don't know if you noticed, but Aerith feels him.
Yeah,
like,
she
him there.
like looks back a
And
little bit.
so does Zack.
Yeah.
And Zack smiles like as he walks by her. So I think he knows she's gonna die.
Yeah.
Like
I think that was his thing of that crossroads is his smile of being, I at least got to see you one last time.
Yeah.
Wow.
My
Or
other
feel
theory,
because I don't think he saw him.
Yeah.
Pause.
And my
you go.
other theory is I think if they don't do that and they do the whole different timeline thing, I think it's gonna be like simultaneously with our party.
Oh yeah,
stuff.
we're gonna be able to play Zack.
I think they're gonna be like, I think they're gonna do like a weird, if they do this, I think they're gonna do like a weird back and forth kind of thing, like Cloud experiencing something, and then like a quick couple seconds of like Zack experiencing the same thing, but in his shoes, you know. And then I think if they do this, the only way for them to end this is like for Zack and Cloud to both fight Sephiroth at the same time and both defeat him in like, you know, at the end of the game or whatever. Or if they really wanted to do this just because of like fans love Zack or whatever, the ultimate thing for them to do it is them to like have Cloud and Zack fight together, and then if Cloud defeats Sephiroth, then Zack like disappears, right? Like a whole Final Fantasy X Tidus disappearing kind of thing.
How sick would
like
it
that.
be? How sick?
Zack and Cloud fighting together.
No. I mean, yeah, that would be incredible. At the end of the game, they're fighting. They're technically fighting Sephiroth, but not seeing each other, but they're feeling each other.
Back to back,
Dude,
bro.
that would be.
Yeah,
that would
dude.
be like, yeah.
That would hit the feels, bro.
But
I don't want that, but like at the same
You
time,
want it, but you want
the fan in me would be like, oh, sick.
And after you lose your heart on from it, you were like, wait,
Yeah.
why?
Wait, this is stupid. But it was cool, but it's stupid.
Yeah. So how cool would it be? You guys realize that the game hasn't been patched, right?
Yeah.
The
It's
game
still
has
1.0.
not been patched. This is still 1.0, and there's obviously tons of glitches and stuff.
Oh yeah, fucking going through the walls and shit.
Aerial fighting.
Staying as a frog, staying as a damn frog, even after battle, dude.
Yeah. How sick would it be if after a few months, after this few months of like this talkery of everyone talking about the game goes down, the game gets patched, and it's like a what if story of the bombing mission, but Zack.
Oh, dude.
Like how sick would that be, dude? Like,
Don't do that to me.
And the only reason why it kind of lends me to think that there might be something more that they're holding back on, just to give us something to play in between the two games. You know what I mean? Like maybe a year from now, they'll push that out. Just like, okay, this is the interim year. We have no news for you yet, but here, there's something to play in Final Fantasy VII. Go back to that game. You know what I mean? The only reason why it gives me that thought process is because after the credits roll, you hear something like a satchel or something metal clinging together, or like a footstep that stepped, and you just hear that of something moving, and it's like, what was that? And then the game's just like, chapter select, and I'm like, no, go back to that. You know, like, dude, my eyes are open, dude. Like give me whatever, dude.
So here's a little level 4 randomness that you can.
Oh God!
With. If they do this, they might go down a supposed fan theory where Zack does the bombing run. He does all the stuff. Well, what happens to Cloud during all this? Cloud is, he's a number. Exactly. He becomes Sephiroth. He becomes the embodiment of Sephiroth because he's so in tune with Sephiroth.
He's saying in Zack's time,
a lot of
have to kill Cloud.
Yeah, he has to kill Cloud.
No,
a lot of people.
Nah, man, stop.
A lot of people think that is. A lot of people have this theory that Sephiroth, like that Cloud that would turn into Sephiroth and kill Zack, is the Sephiroth we're seeing.
That could be possible. That could be the.
So instead of coming from the future, he's going to the. I don't know. But I feel like that still couldn't be the case. I don't like that theory that much because it doesn't explain the whole Advent Children Sephiroth, right? Like, because he wouldn't have that power, right? He wouldn't be able to have the black wing or knowledge or anything. I know we've been talking a lot about Zack and Sephiroth and Aerith, but I really want to talk about Jesse.
About Jesse?
Thirsty girl,
I
101, dude.
Fucking love what they... How many of you got... To me, my favorite chapters, because I'm going to ask you guys what your favorite chapters were, right? Mine was 2 and 3. Like, the whole going to see Jesse's parents thing, and then I fucking loved that expansion to the story so much. That was my favorite part of the whole game. And then that made the plate falling so much more intense.
Yeah, it was very intense.
Oh my God! Like I got so attached to Biggs and even Wedge. I never liked Wedge, but like I even got attached to Wedge.
I still don't like Wedge. I'm just gonna put it.
I still don't either.
So by the way,
I don't either.
By the way, Wedge is still alive. He had an off-screen death.
No, he died.
Yeah.
No.
I'm pretty sure he died.
Killed him.
Arbiter killed him.
Bro, he flew off. He flew off the top of the Shinra
building, bro. They were like,
they straight up
your
fucking,
time is done, dude.
No. They straight up fucking space sucked him off the fucking Shinra building, dude. I don't think he's alive.
I think he's still alive.
Where?
I think Jesse's alive.
I don't like his fat can't save him from all the fall, from all the heights, dude.
Damn, dude.
I think Jesse's alive. I think Jesse's alive.
Actually, let me go ahead and douse that.
Story
summary to the top. Cloud and Tifa climb the pillar, determined to save the slums below. But just as they are about to reach the top, however, they lose Jesse right before their eyes.
They only say Jesse. They don't say Biggs.
Right.
They don't mention Biggs.
But I have a problem with Biggs being alive at the end.
Biggs is a seriously injured Biggs urges Cloud and to help his friends.
He did never state that he was like. He said he just needs to rest.
Yeah, he says he needs to rest where Jesse passes. She dies right there.
So he's in that bad of a shape, slumped over, passed out, resting on a collapsing tower.
I don't know what got him out.
And he somehow gets out. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how he gets out.
Someone got him out. We'll figure that out.
But wait, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about some level 4 shit. I think us destroying the Arbiters of Fate and changing the timeline. Mm-hmm. I think we're gonna see Jesse, like they said in that video. Gold Saucer.
Maybe. The Gold Saucer.
And we're gonna be, and then our party's gonna be like, "Oh my God, Jesse, you're alive!" And then you're gonna be like, "Excuse me, do I know you?" Like, it's just so weird that you still see. Oh man, I don't know. And then that scene is very confusing because at the end, when Biggs is alive, and you see Jesse's headband and gloves.
Yeah.
Like how? First of all, they must have found the body then, or that's Zack's timeline.
Yeah,
Or-
that could be
or-
exactly
or-
Or Biggs went up
got
to
up
follow her.
and was able to go get her, or
Yeah.
something like that. I don't know.
I think we'll
Yeah.
see it. I think we'll see. They're not
Yeah,
going to leave
we'll
that.
get-
They're not going to leave that plot hole.
Yeah,
open
that's
They wouldn't do
This game's
that
too
if they
important.
weren't hinting at like, guess who's still alive?
there. Yeah.
Because like, why would Biggs go up there and save her headband and gloves and put it on the table next to him? Because there was 2 beds in that room.
No,
that was
no,
the orphanage, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the orphanage in Sector 5.
Wait, what if? Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you remember? And they explained this in the they kind of show in the original. They don't say anything, but they kind of hint at it more in this during the bombing run. Biggs and Jesse were together at one point in time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They were dating.
Yeah.
When in the original, when Tifa finds Cloud next to the train or in the train station in Sector 7,
hmm Biggs and Jesse were there,
Biggs and
like
Jesse,
the lovers.
Yeah, were
Mhm.
there.
Oh, yeah.
No, Miss Fiona got in the way, dude. He couldn't get away from those curls, dude.
No.
Gave her that bee sting, dude.
Oh my god. I had another topic I wanted to go over. What was it? Dude, okay. The most important thing to me. Okay, first of all, I want to hear you guys' favorite chapters because I said mine. What was your guys' favorite chapters in the game? Like the favorite thing that they added in the game. What was your favorite?
I
part?
think for me, any of the additional chapters that allow you to really go more in depth in the original story. So like chapter 2 is incredible, just being able to explore and meet the people of the slums.
a whole motorcycle.
Yeah,
Did you guys like Roche?
Roche was
I
awesome.
like Roach.
Roche was. Awesome.
I wanted to see more of him.
We're-
I
we're
feel
gonna
like
see more of
we
him.
we
We
they
have
just
to.
and we obviously are in the second, but I just kind of disappointed that they only showed us like at the end of chapter 3, and then we had another 15 chapters and we didn't see him once.
We're gonna see we're gonna see the
Degradation.
the Genesis version of him, where he starts degrading every time we see him. We'll see that
I think so too.
Roche. And at his last fight, he'll just be a shell of his former self, and you'll just have to kill him to put him out of his misery because he's gonna be so far gone and so like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but please help me, and we'll have to take him out. It's gonna turn into, I think Roche's story is going to go from like a super like, who the fuck is this guy? This guy's fucking nuts. Because soldiers are crazy. They're out of their mind. To okay, all right, the high is worn off. This guy has some human, but he's like forced to do this because of
Yeah, just like in
digital
Crisis
cells.
Core.
Yeah, and then by the end of it, we're gonna be like, oh no, Roche, dude, no. It's gonna
Yeah,
hurt.
it's gonna
I
be
think
heartbreaking,
they're
like,
setting us up for a lot of stabbing
yeah,
of the
dude.
hearts, dude.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
So,
Jeff, what was your favorite chapter?
I really enjoyed was it 13, 14, whenever we're in Hojo's laboratory. And
Oh,
and
yeah,
we're going like across
15,
different levels. Was it 15? Okay, so
Yeah.
and I loved how they played with us, and I actually loved the actual like mechanics of the level itself, where you're switching back and forth
Oh.
between
oh,
Tifa
yeah.
and Aerith,
like
and you
that.
get to fight as them, and at the
With
same
PDB.
time, Red 13's jumping in, and like I just really enjoyed how like you had to use the PHS system,
PHS,
and like,
that's it.
I was able to really like play with all of my party members essentially at the same time, because that was one of the concerns
Yeah,
I
that-
had moving through the game was
That gives me a lot of hope for the next part, for them doing that with Vincent also added in Yuffie and
well,
Kate
and I wonder how they're going to end up doing that, because
Yeah.
one of my concerns, especially when Aerith gets captured, she leaves the party. Like I spent quite a bit of time grinding out some levels because to me the combat was just so engaging for so many different reasons. I don't want to get sidetracked on that just yet, but yeah. So that, and then the last chapter when you're fighting the Ansem and sorry, wrong game. When you're fighting the Harbingers of Fate, and then you and then you get into that 1v1 against Sephiroth. Like for me, like fighting Sephiroth in that moment, and how like he's just so in command until you're able to, pick apart different things. It was very similar to the Rufus fight, which I had a lot of fun with, even though it was super frustrating. Like,
Let me just tell you that hard mode fight, fuck that fight.
yeah, I'll let you guys know how I feel when I get there. So, yeah, I would say definitely Hojo's laboratory, and then that last chapter where you guys go into the void, and you're in the singularity, and
Yeah.
you're jumping
I
across.
actually like that a lot.
It
too.
was just really fun for like
A lot of people hated that because they said, "Oh, we got Namurid," but I
No,
thought
I
that
I
was a
felt
great
like-
change to the
I'm
story.
telling you, just enjoy it for what it is. Why do people constantly have to
Yeah.
compare it to something else? Even though I'm
Like, did you notice the graphical shit they did in the cutscenes of the fighting, that was insane.
No,
I
felt
I wasn't even thinking about the story at that point. I was just like, holy fuck, this is like an orgasm for my eyes.
Yeah.
I felt the final chapter, it didn't feel tacked on. That's
it's been hinted on.
Yeah.
No, my favorite chapter was actually 11. I actually liked the fact
I
that
love
we
the
got to
graveyard too.
Explore the train graveyard more.
Yeah.
We got more in depth.
That was good.
That was really good too. That's what people say. Oh, the story got padded. No, it didn't. Like they flushed out so much of the shit, and it was so much more fun going. Before the train graveyard took you all of what 5 minutes to go through? 6
It
minutes.
took me 20 because I couldn't figure out the puzzles, but okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But it was one of those things that was tacked on too. That was like, ugh, we have to get right. I have to get through the graveyard just to get to the tower. Like there was
but the graveyard was awesome.
But like going through it now, it's like there's reason to want to go through it. There's a story behind it. There's a reason why the train graveyard
and that whole
exists.
Aerith scene.
Oh,
that whole Aerith scene was crazy because that was a flashback of her past of like when she got lost there. Like that
was good, and it was
shit they added.
It was interesting because it felt like the Harbingers of Fate were kind of like working against her, and you also notice certain times that it feels like she knows exactly what's going on, but when something is different, she's like, I don't know, like I don't know what's going on.
You talking about Aerith?
Yeah. So like when the Arbiters took her, like she was like what this is like what the heck, this didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like this didn't happen. Like what? Like I was like something is going on. But overall, man, that train graveyard was incredible. Learning about
that was one of my
and the families that just get lost. The fact that Marlene knows the story about that. Can we talk about Marlene and how she's an ancient, but nobody wants to talk about that?
Oh yeah, I definitely feel like she has some kind of Cetra.
Dude, they touch each other, and then Aerith was like, shh, like don't say nothing. Like I know, don't worry.
And even in the original, when you beat the game, at the end of the game in the original, you see that the live stream is defending the planet against Meteor.
Yeah.
And then Marlene, it just cuts to Marlene, and she goes, "The flower girl." And then it goes look out the window. Like, how does she sense these things?
She's probably she's probably an ancient or a Cetra as
well. Like
well.
half ancient or something.
So we need to know who Barrett's wife is. That's number one.
No, remember,
that's not. Well, she's not
Marlene
Barrett's
she's
child.
Not, yeah, you're right.
She's
Dino?
what's his name?
Dino?
Dane? Is his name Dane?
Dane, yeah, it is.
Dane.
Yeah, we need to find that.
D-Y-N-E.
Dine,
right?
yeah,
That's number one. Number two, do you guys think I'm moving into like future possibilities here, but do you guys think they're going to touch up on Sephiroth's relationship to Vincent?
Yeah, you have to.
Yes, with Lucretia and all that.
Like,
yeah, they
as
have
opposed to like, hey, you find her in a little
they didn't do that
cave
enough.
over there at Disc 3.
Yeah, they didn't do that enough in the original. They have to do more.
Hojo does state in this one too. Goes,
I do remember that.
Maybe I should arrange a meeting. Oh, it'd be great to see their child.
Yeah, I think the way that he says that.
What we're actually going to touch bases that it's Lucretia and Vincent's child.
So crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, even though Vincent was an optional, part of the original, it was so easy to actually get him that I think that part, especially the relationship that Hojo has with Sephiroth and with Lucretia and how all of that kind of came, I feel like they have to touch on it. And I better have to get a submarine, and I better have to go up to that little circular island, and go
find her in a cave. Yeah,
I don't think anything is going to be optional when it comes to the character. Like,
you know what I think is going to happen? I think at that part, I think we're actually going to have to fight her, and she's going to transform into the Genova cells.
Yeah,
maybe that's going to be.
She's going to tell. She's going to ask us to put us out of our misery. What?
Well, that's how you acquire Vincent, dude.
Oh god!
After I
think we're gonna get him way before that. I don't think they're gonna do the whole optional thing like they did in the original. I think we're gonna get scenes where we're gonna get the characters.
Yeah, I feel like looking at future games.
Yeah.
The next game, how we're going to get the rest of the characters. We're going to go. So obviously we're going to start off getting Red 13. We're going to get Nanaki.
Yeah.
Then we're going to get.
How would you guys feel if certain characters weren't playable?
I'd be pissed.
That would be really odd.
Like what if Red 13 and like Kate Sith were just like guest characters like Red 13 was in this? I would be pissed.
I don't want that.
I don't either. I would be pissed.
It's just too. They were in the original. Like, don't remake it and tell me that they're just going to be supplementary characters.
And obviously the only reason why Red 13 was a guest
Oh yeah,
character.
because we got him at the end of the game, and
you
just,
get
yeah.
chapter 14. So.
I would say that would be the only excuse for the next part. Obviously, the next part's not going to be the last part of the game,
Yeah.
but by the end of the game, we should be able to play with everyone because that would be
so.
stupid.
I actually have a question about where you guys think, like, how are they going to break up the rest of the game? Because we've only gotten into about 10 to 15% of the original story. So if you want to look at it, even the end of disc 1 was like right after the gold saucer and you go to jail where Impy thought he was fighting the worm for endgame. Like that.
So I think they expanded upon Midgar so much because of the whole like time traveling thing, not time traveling, but like time changing, right? Like the whole fate thing. I think they expanded upon it so much was because of that. And I think the other ones are going to be not shorter, but it's going to be much easier to do them because I think they're still going to stick kind of like true to the original and only change a few things, like certain things.
I think
if they want it to be 3 parts, which is I think it's going to be 3 parts, a trilogy. If they want it to be 3 parts, they have to at least get to Aerith's death on the second disc.
So
like on the second part.
So I will state this. Thinking about it and how we're going to get relations to characters later. Like I said, Red 13. We're going to get Kate Sith next. I think it'll be like Kate Sith, Sid, Yuffie, and then Vincent. I think we'll be ending the next game in the Temple of Ancients because we're going to have a huge story arc in Wutai.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was actually going to talk about.
Oh
that.
yeah,
they've been hinting at Wutai for a while in this game.
So we're going to get
every which turn.
We're going to get this huge story arc in Wutai in the next game. That's how we get Yuffie, and then we're going to end up in the Temple of Ancients. That's where that one's going to end. Then the next one's probably going to end Crater, right around the crater. Like right.
So you think there's going to be 4 parts?
More than 4 parts.
Holy shit! I really hope that's not the case.
I don't know. Yeah, I
don't think about 4 parts. I think that's too much.
Three.
I think
if
trilogy.
If they end at the crater, then what? The 4th disc will
and
just
you just
be
fight the
Sephiroth, like
fighting weapon. No, you could fight weapon and all that shit.
Crater 1.
Crater 1.
No.
Oh, where you find Sephiroth in the crystal.
Time, yeah.
What? Disc 4 would be there?
That's where you.
No, disc 3 would end there. The part 3 would end there, and then the rest of the game would be on part 4.
That'll be way too much. I think.
Yeah, I think that would be too much.
At that point, I think too many people that aren't diehard. Again, this whole remake was done for fan service for guys like us, but it was also done to rekindle what is globally recognized as one of the greatest games of all time. It's so. I think that if they were to extend it to 4 parts, it's just going to seem like a cash grab at that point. And
not to mention that they also have been working on Final Fantasy 16. So like I feel like they wouldn't be working on this and 16 at the same time.
Well, they have 2 different teams. They're
2 different teams.
Yeah.
That's 2 different teams. And then we've got the creator of, or the director of Final Fantasy 14, not the creator, the director of Final Fantasy 14, who just now got
Yoshi.
Who has
praise the Yoshi P. Just want to put that out there. You have my sub for the rest of my life.
What if they start by giving us Yuffie first in the second game, and she steals all our fucking materia, and that's how we start?
That would be
that would be crazy. And then
we find her, and she's like, "Sorry, I sold it all." You know, like, but I'm coming along in the journey.
See, that's where I'm thinking. That's how we're going to lose a lot.
She's like, "I gotta make it right, dude."
I think so too. We're gonna lose all our weapons, all material.
She's going to like just straight up jack us. We're gonna like, really? Woman?
Yeah.
Why should we let you join? Because I'm broke and I need
to get jacked too. She's gonna get.
She's just gonna tag along.
So to kind of go back to where the game's gonna go, I think that if you think about all the stuff that happens post Aerith's death, you've got all the weapons. You've got the hunt for the huge materia, and you've got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Past that pivotal scene, because essentially that's like in the game that's almost halfway through. Now for me, replaying it, the 3rd disc, the 3rd part was much shorter because there's not that much more story that happens unless you're doing optional stuff. So like, if you wanted to get into, some of the extra stuff, and I'm hoping that they incorporate all of that extra stuff. I want to get Master Materias. I want to get Knights of the Round. I don't want, Chadley to be sitting there and giving me Knights of the Round. I want to be able to go out and get that. Like, that was one of the issues that I did have.
Nah, we're going to kill Chadley. He's not going to be there for long.
Is the VR situation. Like, I loved how it added another element to the game, but I didn't like that the materia was just kind of like popped up out of nowhere because you threw on a headset for a little bit. Like
So
Yeah.
the summons should be something that's coming from the world. It's something.
The world,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's some sort of primal being.
Oh yeah,
that was,
finding Knights of the Round was like a crazy quest.
Well,
so
to find that.
I want to pull this up. What if with Charlie we have to? He goes, I have a new summon materia for you, and you have to fight Knights of the Round. Well, when you fight Knights of the Round, he gives you the materia, but the materia is broken. And then he talks about, potential, like a rumored area to go to, and you have to take the materia there to get restored to
that'd
get
be-
the
yeah.
actual Knights of the Round.
That'd be kind of
That'd
cool.
be better.
It would be cool, but I think that wouldn't tie in at all with what the
What
VR
Charlie
mission
does,
and what. Yeah, so but I do like that idea of like.
I think Jeff is saying that he wants more of like a Final Fantasy X kind of feel, like where you're fighting the summon, like when you get Yojimbo in
Yeah,
Final
like-
Fantasy X, and you have to
find
fight
them,
him,
yeah.
and then he becomes your summon, right? Like that would be sick
I-
if they did something like
Yeah,
that.
I just want to see it. To be
Yeah,
completely honest
same.
with you, I mean, the closest thing that I've
Yeah.
gotten to it is Final Fantasy 14. There's a fight where it's very Knights of the Round Table esque.
I can just state a Knights of the Round fight in with this combat system
Oh,
would
yeah.
be insane.
Oh,
It would
yeah.
be-
It would be
They would have
insane.
to expand on every piece of the combat though, like aerial combat, everything. They'd have to be. They'd have.
Oh yeah, that's one thing I have a problem with in the combat. I love the combat. This is probably the best combat in a Final Fantasy game that I've ever had. I think it's the best that they've gotten so far, and I think if they make aerial combat a little bit better and maybe a little bit more shortcuts, I feel like I wish I had more shortcuts.
Yeah,
I think
Because there's gonna be so many moves in the next one. You like, there's gonna be so many more
It
abilities. that
it
you're
would be
gonna get.
really cool if they were to allow you. Kind of before I get into that point, I did love the combat. To me, is so good because it feels like Final Fantasy 15, and I loved the combat in 15.
Me too.
But you could easily hit X or R1 and immediately pause the battle and get that turn-based attack. So you have to actually figure out, like, okay, I have
It's
one ATB charge left. Like, I can use this, but I really need to use the 2-1 to fill it out. So I think to expand on the combat, it would be really cool if there was a system in place where you could almost macro out different abilities. So, like, if you get
that's what I was.
if
gonna
you
say.
get 2 or 3, maybe they extend the ATB charge to 3, or they sort of add some combo where if you use this combo during a stagger, it instantly replenishes your ATB charge, so you can sort of like macro out like a shortcut that's going to allow you to go from like braver to focus slash, or even like combo across party members and stuff. And I know that's getting a little crazy, but I think that the groundwork for the combat in this game is something that they can continue to scaffold upon.
It's not that crazy though, because Final Fantasy 12 has that kind of. It's the gambit system
Right.
where you can set up like when an enemy is 50% health, do this ability, and then you can set another gambit, and then it's at this right after using this ability, you can use this ability. I feel like they could definitely do that because this game already takes stuff from Final Fantasy 12, being able to pause the game and choose what you want
I
to
just
do
love that.
mid combat.
I love that because
It's the best.
because combat was very hectic, especially when there was a lot of enemies.
Oh, yeah.
And like being able to play different characters, like if you've got an aerial enemy or you've got an enemy that you can't reach, you can easily switch to Barrett, charge his gun up, use his skills. Oh, by the way, I still have something that Cloud needs to do, so I can pause it and I can tell Cloud what to do while I'm still shredding with Barrett, and then I can have Tifa. Like, it was just very, very complex without having a ton of stuff. Only 5 weapons per character, the 5 levels per weapon. So like the leveling system with the weapons and being able to like take the skills and like keep that skill but use a different weapon. I really, really enjoyed what they did with the combat.
See,
Yeah.
I think
Me too.
I think learning the combat took the longest, but the biggest thing that I found is I like the fact that aerial combat wasn't floaty like Kingdom Hearts was. I'm glad it was not. And it was very, very easily seen that, you have an aerial enemy and you have Cloud go and jump up there. He gets 3 slashes and falls to the ground. He's not going to do it.
Tifa's
But you
way
go
better than him
Tifa,
when it comes to that. But yeah,
she's up there, she's doing flips, she's doing attacks, and then she drops down. And yeah, that switching of the characters, you're like, all right, go get some melee attacks on this aerial. Oh, there's a guy that's outside the range of my melees. Let's switch Barrett or Aerith to get that range.
It made every
going.
character necessary, yo.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, they really, and I think they're gonna do that again in the next one. I don't want to stray too far because I know some people have to, like, obviously you guys have stuff to do today. I did want to talk about 2 more topics though before we end this. What do you think? Okay, so to me, this boss fight was, I loved it and hated it at the same time. The end game, Sephiroth, because I loved it so fucking much that I'm like, how the fuck are they gonna top this in the next game? In the original game, you never fight Sephiroth until the end of the game. You're always chasing that for almost 100 hours.
And even then, you don't even fight the actual Sephiroth until Cloud goes down, and you're fighting, advanced Genova Sephiroth.
Form. Yeah. So my problem is, like, I don't know how they're gonna beat this ending in the next part. What could we possibly? They can't just keep doing.
Yeah, then it's not gonna be a Sephiroth
because it's gonna diminish
it might be
who he is as a character.
It's got to be the weapon.
In part 2,
Yeah.
In part 2, I don't think we're gonna get that far. In part 2, I think they're gonna go as far as Aerith's death, and then maybe we'll fight a Genova.
If it's Aerith's death, then we obviously
it'll be that Genova fight.
Yeah, you fight Genova.
Death? No, Genova life there.
Yeah.
Genova life. Yeah. So my problem is, I don't think that they're gonna top this fight in the next game. Until we get to the last part.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to top this.
But that's okay, because the Quintet, like, I want to see at the ending of this series, however many parts it is, I want that scene all over again where Cloud is drifting into the planet's core, and Sephiroth is waiting, and I just want to whip out Omnislash. And
they have that framing where it's like, dude, like, I was like, oh my god, this is the original fight.
I think it's going to be even longer than this one, though.
Yeah, I think.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
It's not just going to be a press.
And it's gonna be. It has to be a 1v1. Oh yeah. You don't even know Limit Break, but you don't even know Omnislash, but we're just gonna have you Omnislash.
But even that last fight against God Sephiroth was brutal, absolutely brutal. And if you guys remember, in that there was one save point in that entire dungeon at the end. Yeah. And I remember getting to that one save point. I was like, okay.
And you have to fight Genova and then Sephiroth like 3 times.
It's
right.
Yeah, it's Genova, Bizarro, Savior, then Sephiroth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a gauntlet. It's a.
So I loved that we did get to fight Sephiroth here in whatever form he's currently in. I thought that it was a nice way to put the emphasis on how much we don't know about this relationship. Talking Remake here, we don't know much about the relationship between Cloud and Sephiroth, other than that Sephiroth is constantly haunting Cloud throughout the entire. And then at the end of the remake, we find out that Sephiroth is actually controlling way more than just what Cloud is seeing. So, so as a new person coming into the game, you're left with this, like, dude, that was a pretty dope boss fight because we just fought this guy. We didn't beat him, so there's going to be more to come. And then, like,
I feel like as a new player, some of the things that suck about new players, I don't feel this because obviously we've all played it, but to new players, I feel like I didn't think they did a good job at like showing new players who the fuck Sephiroth is, because a lot of people like, who the fuck's this guy? Like, we know everything about it because we know the original, but a lot of the shit people are just like, who the hell, like, what is this guy's deal? Like, what is going on? Like, they don't know that he's Sephiroth from the future, or that like he's some guy we fucking killed.
They don't even know he's
evil.
From the future. Like, like people
I think it's okay to though.
Yeah, I think that's actually where they're going. Like, for the new players, is having that the same mystery we had about who Sephiroth was when we played the original. We had very little information about him, and going, who is he? We know that he's ridiculously strong, blah blah. Now you got the new players going, who is this guy? Why is he messing with the main character? Why is everyone afraid of him? So you're getting that same thing, but now they're getting a little more information than we did originally.
Yeah, I think
might keep them intrigued longer.
Yeah, I think,
dude, I don't know if you guys noticed the scenes in that last fight when you're fighting Sephiroth with the team, they were like straight out of Advent Children. Some of those,
and I think they were done on purpose.
That was so crazy. The whole him lifting his hand up and throwing.
That's how you knew it was him.
No, the Shinra down. I was like, holy shit, this is. I was expecting him to do the whole line of "Shall I give you despair," dude. And just, oh man, I was cheesing the whole time I was doing that fight.
The freaking
I want you to beg forgiveness, dude. Like,
the Kingdom Hearts ability where he brings us back to 1 HP.
Heartless Angel.
Oh yeah,
I was like, he's not supposed to have this. What are you doing transcending video games, dude?
Yeah, the moment.
I don't know if you guys know. Go ahead, Kitsurugi.
Yeah, the moment that happened, I was like, blah blah. I saw Sin Heartless. I'm like Kingdom Hearts. Oh, everyone's at 1 HP. Oh shit, it's that one.
I was like, wait.
I think like the coolest thing that I didn't notice till I played through a second time and I was watching my original boss fight. I was watching the gameplay that I recorded.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit! Like he's making like in Advent Children, he's already controlling the Arbiters of Fate. Like when he lifts his hand up and then the whole Midgard gets swarmed with darkness, like all black, and then he kind of like sucks in that darkness, all the black energy like goes into him and becomes even stronger, and he gets that black wing. He does that in the remake when you fight him.
Okay.
He just lifts his hand up and then the whole all the Arbiters just control Midgard. It's like actually insane that you like all this stuff, the thought they went into creating this game, into like mind fucking you and been like, holy shit, I have to play this again because now it's like a whole other view I have on this game.
The replay value is substantial. I mean,
because I feel like we were so entranced and like, oh my god, dude, they're doing this scene that we saw fucking 23 years ago, and we were totally like not even thinking about that. We were just like enjoying them remaking our favorite scenes with our favorite characters, and then we go play it again and we're like, holy crap, Aerith already knows he's soldier. Aerith already knows that Tifa wants her to save Marlene before she even speaks up. Like it's insane the amount of shit that goes on that you never paid attention to in the original, the first playthrough.
Dude, in chapter 2, when you're on the train, going back, you see the angel of the slums. You see her granddaughter sitting on the train.
Really?
You see her sitting there, like super quiet. And someone sent me a screenshot. I was like, what?
And
Wait, whose granddaughter?
Kirie.
Angel of the slums. Yeah,
Kirie.
Oh yeah,
And if you stand right next to her long enough, she actually speaks to you, and it's just 3 question marks.
Okay, I only got 2 more quick questions because I know Jeff has to go soon. I have, okay, so one of the questions is, the last 2 topics is, do you still think Aerith's gonna die?
Yes,
absolutely, 100%.
She has to. If she doesn't, it might reduce the quality of the story of the game. She's the catalyst for things moving forward. And
I think so too.
And changing Cloud and making him
it won't
crazy.
have the same impact. Yeah, because the whole reason they go after Sephiroth that hard, obviously now it's different. She's making it seem like he's everything that like he's wrong, like everything about him is wrong. Like she's literally telling the party, we got to stop him. But what makes them in the original want to stop Sephiroth so bad when they like losing all hope is like, we need to do this for Aerith. Aerith died for this. Aerith died for this cause. Like, and you know,
we're still going to get that cause. We're going to still get that. She died. We need to carry this on. We need to finish what we started for her. We're still going to get that, but there's got to be something else that's going to be more.
And a lot of people think this too. Do you guys think that our choices are going to matter to the story, or if it's still going to be the same thing but different things are going to happen, or do you think the choices we make are going to cause maybe a different member to die?
No, I see. I don't want that.
I don't either.
Do you
think that
it's hard to see, like it makes sense to see why, because they've sprinkled so many of these oddball things that are happening that we don't know what's going to happen. But I think that's an intentional directive purpose. They are trying to throw the original fan base off, making us all big brain it. We're all making YouTube videos now because we're so wrapped up in how different things are. And here we are, the 4 of us are going to sit here another year or 2 from now and be like, Aerith still died. Like, of course she did. She has to. Her death is so important because it allows that spark in Cloud and the party to really focus in on what's going on. Because yes, they want to kill Sephiroth at that point because he killed her, but it's also like we understand that
it's going to be the end of the world.
Aerith died to save the world. Aerith died to give us the opportunity to stop Sephiroth, and I think
materia, the only way to do it.
The only way, and even though Sephiroth has some sort of different control over what's happening in the remake, I think that they're just going to lead us to that point where it's like, yes, we're still going to kill off Aerith. It may be in a different part.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be. I want that scene of him coming down from above and just shattering expectations because we're expecting it, but we're still going to be absolutely floored because it's the definitive scene in that game. It is one of the most defining video game moments. Like everyone that played that game from scratch was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. what, dude? This girl just died.
Yeah.
Like, what?
That will be the one thing that they do that would probably piss me off. Like, if they don't do that, it will turn me off so much. The only reason I think that could be a possibility is because in the remake, they make so many, like, oh, you fell in the sewers. There's Aerith here. Just Tifa there. Which way are you going to go?
Right.
And then, like, depending what you do there, you get a scene with Tifa or a scene with Aerith. So it's like they're either making you fall more in love with Tifa or fall more in love with Aerith. And I don't want them to make it to the point where it's like it gets so serious with the choices you make that either Aerith or Tifa would die.
So there's actually a third scene in chapter 14, and that one's with
Barrett. Yeah.
No, I think
No one cares about that one.
I think if they're going to do a big choice like that, Aerith's still going to die.
Yeah.
But it's going to be one of those things where she's actually going to tell Cloud, I'm going to die here. And if you let him kill me, what we're trying to prevent is going to happen.
So he has
And
to make
it's going
that
to be
choice.
that it's either Sephiroth that kills Aerith, or Cloud has to, by willing choice, kill Aerith.
Or they
Which
finally
I think
confirmed
Yeah.
that they kill him that he's the one that kills her in the lake when he drowns her, and
Yeah.
she wasn't actually dead.
Okay,
God,
dude.
dude.
Okay, dude. No. Okay.
Oh.
But I think we're gonna get that scene. So I think we're gonna get that scene where, like, one of the things that could happen. I think we're gonna get that scene where he, like, is about to kill her. But I think he actually does, because he's being so mind fucked by Sephiroth so much more now than he was in the original, and I feel like he has more of a power over Cloud, like the cells, the Sephiroth cells in him.
Like I said, I think we're going to get either we're going to get the choices, and that's probably where a choice will be big, and the ending kind of shifts depending on which one you do, or they're going to do the entire thing of Sephiroth's not going to kill Aerith, Cloud is going to kill Aerith, because Sephiroth's so much embedded at this point that Cloud,
She's gonna die.
Yeah,
Guys, you
Cloud
ready?
can't fight it.
You guys ready for level 4? You guys ready for level 4 here?
Yeah.
What if Sephiroth does kill Aerith, right? But he takes over Cloud's body and becomes Sephiroth himself for that one instance and then switches right back, and all Cloud sees is his sword right through her.
Oh,
That would actually be crazy.
That would be,
Dude,
that would be
Because
crazy.
he can do whatever he wants. He can any at a cellular form, anyone that has his cells, he can transfer to whenever he wants.
Yeah.
Any S soldier or S cell.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
dude. Like,
I don't.
One of
actually,
the-
I don't think
I don't know
Cloud
if I like
has
that.
S cells in him, because Hojo says, like, I thought about this, and it's funny. Like, I didn't even think about this before. When Hojo first sees him and he says, "I'm soldier," he's like, "No, you're not."
No, you're not.
And
Yeah.
he's like, "Wait, oh, that's right."
Yeah,
and then you get
he remembers
that lab that he was
the
at.
Sephiroth clone that he was trying to create
Yeah.
in the lab, because that's what Hojo was doing in that lab in Crisis Core. He was trying to turn Zack and Cloud into a Sephiroth clone.
Yep.
And with the the Genova,
Uh,
because I'm pretty sure that they have Genova and S cells. They have both.
They're the strongest connection to Sephiroth.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So that's why I still believe in that whole alternate timeline thing, because they're literally the same. Cloud and Zack are literally the same person. They both have the same cellular design.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like if you defeat Sephiroth at the third part, that would probably. I think that's where we're gonna go with that. They're gonna do a whole Zack and Cloud both fighting Sephiroth to end the game, and then Zack just that whole other timeline just disappears. Yeah.
Or Zack degrades. Like, that's it. He gets
or
the,
that could
the
be it too,
Angeal
yeah.
movement, and that's where he. All right.
I don't know. I don't like where they're going with that too, because that would then what does that mean for Cloud? Because in Advent Children, obviously that hasn't happened to him yet, and it's been like.
Well, I mean,
years
he
since
was
that
fixed in Advent Children. Remember, Holy kind of saved him.
Oh yeah, the
Holy Rain saved him. But
The last thing I wanted to only reason I'm trying to speed this up is because we all have stuff to do. We've been going on for like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to cover is, what did you dislike the most in the remake, and what was your favorite change, whether it be combat or music? We didn't even talk about the music, but this fucking soundtrack was absolutely
the soundtrack.
phenomenal.
We got a whole other hour and a half
Like-
to spend on the music. So,
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
My favorite I think remix that I kind of pissed that we didn't hear it more was the Airbuster fight, dude. That fucking boss battle theme, holy shit. That was like on another level. That was like, I thought it was just gonna loop over and over. There was like an extra 4 minutes of like actual chorus and orchestra, and I was like, holy crap, this fight. I literally paused the fight just to hear the music. So I was like, holy shit, this is fucking insane.
I think one of the things that I dislike the most, which is more of just like a greedy thing. I really
me too. I don't hate anything. It's just
right.
like little nitpicky
like
things.
what did I want? There was definitely a few areas where you're running around and you're not really fighting. Like I wish that there was more enemies out in the open, like especially like in chapter 2 when you go to that little like monster area when you become part of the watch. Like there was like only 3 little fights in there, and I had to like leave the area and then go back in to sort of grind a little bit. So that randomness to the combat in the original is what, like, okay, like I know I need to get over here, but there's a very strong chance that I'm going to hit an enemy or two because I don't know it. Whereas in this one, it's like, well, at some points in the game, I was just waiting for a fight, and I'm like, there should be fighting going on as I'm going from point A to point B, because a lot of the game was very linear, which I'm okay with. I'm not going to get into comparing it to Final Fantasy 13, but we'll move on from there. So
that's a different.
Very different, but I think that in some of those parts it was a little dry in terms of like, okay, this is a beautiful area to go to, and I'm jumping and I'm kind of like finding these little paths, but like give me some more enemies to fight, please. The combat was so good.
Yeah, see, that's not even like a dislike, and I'm in the same boat. There's nothing
it's
that I
hard for me.
actually hate about the game. It's just like little nitpicky things that could be a tiny bit better, and it would be amazing. But
Maybe Johnny was just too much of a Giga Chad for me.
Johnny was. I kind of liked Johnny though, because they had stuff with him in the original. They expanded upon him a lot. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, I would say.
What's your favorite part though, Jeff? Your favorite change?
I think it's the music. I think between the music and the ability for the combat to be action oriented but still have time or turn based effects. But for me, the music, like the upgraded versions, the current day orchestra, just the music and how they tweak that in, for me, it was just every song that played, I was like, oh my god, did I remember listening to this? And just like a synthesizer, and now I'm hearing a full blown even like before the game came out, I'm always on YouTube listening or trying to find different themes.
I've literally been listening to the soundtrack since the game came out.
When the Genova song came in, dude, I was just like, oh dude. I'm not ready.
What about the One-Winged Angel when you're fighting? Oh my god, that was insane. What about you, Kitsurugi?
Probably my biggest dislike is kind of with you, Jeff, is that it wasn't the random counters that was bugging me. It's the force walking, like the areas where you couldn't do anything. You had to stop and stay, and you're like, but I want to explore. Like, I can't move anywhere. I want to explore. I want to hear and listen to what people are saying, or I want to keep moving. I want to see what's over here, but I have to stay in this little path.
Yep.
And I have to only move in at a certain speed. I can't go any faster or go beyond a certain point. And I think the only other thing I had a gripe about, like I said, a gripe, these are what they are, was even though I loved the combat, there were 2 spells that were absolutely useless to use unless the enemy was huge. And that was Arrow and Blizzard.
Oh, I fucking hated
those were the worst, because it's like, okay, the initial hit, and then it has to sit there for a couple
You're
seconds.
a time mage, dude.
Yeah.
So the whole trick I found to that in hard mode, like when you're fighting the horse rider in the graveyard, because when he's in the air, he's weak to arrow. But he's constantly fucking moving, so it's like you have to use stop on him, which lasts all of fucking 3 seconds. So you had to like combine stop and Aeroga, like combined to be able to hit him, or else he was gonna move out of the way.
See, I got to the point that I'm like, these, like, without using stop, I'm like, these are so useless. The only thing I use them for is elemental, and Tifa would jump up.
The same problem with Shiva. The same problem with Shiva. I didn't like using her as a summon, as awesome as she looks, is because the enemies are constantly moving and her moves are very stationary. Heavenly Strike takes like 10 seconds to fall.
Yeah.
After you use it, the 2 bar, and it just takes so long. And the enemy moves by then. If it was constantly over them while they were moving, that's another thing, but it just stays in place.
Fat Chocobo is better to use than Shiva.
Yeah, Fat Chocobo for real.
And then things I liked, I have to agree. The music was amazing. I have to say, in chapter 2, right when you right between you meeting Aerith, into that fight, that transition, how they transitioned the music.
Oh yeah,
from
the music
point to
transitions
point
were phenomenal.
was it just gave me goosebumps and still gives me goosebumps every single time. And then even furthermore, like talking about One Winged Angel, I'm like, all right, the rendition's still good, but the Genova theme, that entire
God.
the 2 different times,
And it kind of evolves through
Yeah.
combat, like the music.
the
This-
combat version, which evolves through, and then the fact that you get her music when Hojo's talking to Aerith, and it is that very slow, distorted song, and I love that. I'm like, they took certain musics and just ran with them and made it enhanced the mood of scenes.
Yeah.
In this game, which I loved.
Sure.
What about you, Impervious?
Things that I mean, there's this. It's hard to like. It's hard to like.
Yes, I had the same problem.
To choose something that I didn't really like about
Because
the
it's
game.
not really dislikes. It's just like
Yeah.
like a gripe, like Kitsurugi said.
Yeah, I mean, I think certain like side quests were like not
Catching
we're
cats?
like not we're like not as engaging, and like there were like certain side quests were like, holy crap, yeah, you can learn more about this town, learn more about these characters, learn more about like what goes on in the slums, and then there's like find 3 cats, and I'm like, okay, sure, I guess. Sure, I'll go.
And
find these.
we had to do every side quest.
Yeah, you had to
Like,
in order
yeah,
to
I'm
unlock
not-
like the next portion of the story, or
Yeah,
the
but
next
even
the
that-
2 hidden side quests.
But even then, like I have to do them anyways because
I have to, 'cause it's Final Fantasy VII.
It's exactly. But
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. I don't
Yeah.
need. I have enough
That-
cats here.
That would be really like the only thing. Like the walking sections, I understood why they had to happen. They were a little annoying, but I did understand why they had to happen. Is because they really had to, I guess, drive certain narrative in those sections.
And extend the game a little bit more, you know.
But that's really it, man. I mean, anything else? I mean, there were certain areas that I felt weren't as high res as other areas. Like if you look at like bombing mission 1, like the bombing missions, super high quality, everything's super high res, and then you go to like
That's one of my dislikes.
you go to like chapter 6, and it's like certain parts of like. look at
Are
the
you
rubble
talking
and stuff
about
on
when
the
you're
backdrops.
underneath the getting to the reactor 5, right?
Yeah.
And you're like looking down at the slums,
Yeah, I know,
and
like,
it's
low
all
res.
tech.
Yeah, and I
That's one of
get
my dislikes.
it's a system limitation, so I'm not faulting them for it.
Yeah.
It's a hey, there's only so much bandwidth that the system has, so we have to prioritize
Yeah.
on what you.
We won't see that on PS5.
Yeah, no,
There's
I
no
think
way.
the worst one, if you're looking at that, is what the day Midgar stood still is the climb up sector 7.
Yeah.
Because the higher you go, the worse.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
less quality down in sector.
I
7
didn't like looking
Yeah.
down anyways because of height, so I was just like, oh, you know,
Yeah.
I don't need to see down there.
You know, it doesn't look good anyway. Even if it did look
Okay,
good.
you're fine.
Yeah, it's the slums. Why do you care? What is your favorite?
Dude, I mean,
like the best one?
man, everything. As much as I did like
Yeah.
certain things, everything was my favorite thing. But I think I love the most that this game felt like a sequel to me more than just an original game.
Yep. it does.
I
Yep.
love the
That's one
original
thing we didn't
game
talk
for
about.
what it is. I love the original game for what it is. And 23 years on, there's still a modern way to play that game.
Yes.
Any console you want to play it on. By the way, PlayAsia has the physical version of Final Fantasy 6 and 7 on a cartridge for Switch. If you guys want to get that.
Oh shit! Really?
You heard it
I
here,
know
folks.
where I'm.
Yo, send me that link. Send me that link after. Send me that link after. Jesus Christ! I've literally gone back to Final Fantasy 12 to finish it because I never finished it because of this game.
But yeah, freaking yeah, I love the fact that this game felt more like a sequel. Like the first time going through, it feels like layers just on top of my favorite game of all time. But like going like now that you have different perspective and you're playing through it and you're looking at other things, like this game feels more like a sequel than anything else, and it's like the perfect sequel to a video game.
And I think it feels that way more because we don't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
On
Yeah.
part 2 and part
Yeah.
3. So we're even more. We're at the same point we were at before when we left Midgar in the original. We're like, holy shit, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
And like now we got that weight and
And
anticipation.
I hope that it starts off with us being in calm and they're like, hey, what's going on? And we sit down. Like
God's like,
and,
"All right, let me
and
tell
I
you a
want to
story,
see
dude."
that side of Sephiroth. I want to see that sane side of Sephiroth
I want to see a level
without seeing him as this almighty god,
I
right?
wanna
Like I want to
see a
see him
level
as
one
like a sane
cloud.
person.
I want to be a level 1 cloud
And get fucking one-shotted by that dragon.
dragon and it fire breath kills you.
And just having fucking Sephiroth like, I'm not even going to use life 3 on you. I'm just going to kill this thing.
Let me quake for this thing real
God.
quick.
Yeah, right.
I think that, okay, you guys are probably not going to like one of my dislikes because it's not even a dislike. It's like a gripe, like Kitsugi said. I loved all the voice actors. I just could not get behind Sephiroth's voice actor.
All right, I'm getting off this call. Thanks, guys.
Wow.
I like Advent Children. Sephiroth was so like
I mean,
menacing
Lance
and
is
deep,
a
and I
god,
feel
too.
like
Yeah, Lance.
I know, but I think he tries a little too hard to sound like the Advent Children Sephiroth
see, I
instead of
I'm completely
like people complain about Barrett sounding like Robert Downey Jr. I fucking like it. Fits his character.
Yeah.
Dude. I like it, but I don't know. I wanted Sephiroth to sound a little bit more menacing, like evil.
I
think-
think
but-
it took a lot of that game for me to get used to Sephiroth's voice.
Yeah, like when now obviously I like it, right? But when I first played it in that first scene with Nibelheim and I saw the fire and then I heard him talking, I was like, oh, this isn't Sephiroth.
See, but
What's-
that kind of, and I'll just say this quick because I don't want to get back into the conversation, but it's just that playfulness in his voice that just adds to the character development of
So,
him
like,
playing with
yeah.
everything, where he's not overbearingly a menace like he is in the original. And this one, he's like, I'm just a menace, guys, and I'm just gonna fuck
Yeah.
with you the whole time.
Yeah.
It's like that playful sort of like try, because like even like with the Omni Slash, Cloud doesn't pull it
oh,
off,
that was
and
that was
Sephiroth
funny,
says, "What
dude.
does he say?"
He's just parrying everything.
Not enough.
He goes, not enough.
Just playful.
enough, bro.
It's just playful, and I loved it.
And I think the only other dislike that I had was like the textures, like you were saying, like in certain missions. But I understand that's not like they did that on purpose. Either they were trying to rush the game out and that wasn't as important, or it was just the system couldn't handle all
Or
of that
both.
bandwidth and all of, or both, because you know they were on time restraints. They had to restart that game from fucking scratch after it being in development with the other
With Cyber
company
Connect,
for like a year or two with CyberConnect. It was like almost 2 years already, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, 2017, we're starting it over." Like, okay. And then I think my favorite was the character progression that they showed. Like in the original, like you just see kind of Cloud's freaking out, like, and he's just reactor, and that's it. That's all you see. And then now you're like, you're seeing Sephiroth and you're seeing visions and you're seeing like forms of his PTSD with like the whole Nibelheim thing where he's seeing half Nibelheim, half Midgar, and he's freaking out. I just love that they did that. Even with the side quests, like some of the side quests sucked, the whole cat thing, but some of them actually showed character progression. Like there's this one mission where you go help this old man deliver like the
grave.
stuff to his
the
grave. Yeah. And normal Cloud would be like, yeah, I'm just doing this for money, but he was actually helping the guy. And even at the end, you kind of think at first like, oh, he's just being a dick. He wants money. Where he tells the guy like, oh, if you want me to bring this key to you so you can go back there again, then it's gonna be 5,000. Like he says an absurd amount of money,
Yeah.
but he's only saying that to protect the old man from not going there and dying. So, and then even after that, Aerith's like, see, it's nice to help people, isn't it? And like little side quests like that. I love that they added shit, and obviously the combat was fucking phenomenal. I love the combat. It was probably my favorite combat in all of Final Fantasy. Like out of all the Final Fantasies I've ever played,
Magic.
I think it was the best combat. And music, obviously, and everything. This game's fucking
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
Ton-
Can't wait for it.
Tonberry is still the scariest enemy in Final
No,
Fantasy.
fuck
God.
that
Oh my fucking god! Wait till you fight him in hard mode, Jeff. I want you
Oh my god.
I want you to message me when you fight Hell House in hard mode because he spits out little Tonberries, dude.
Tonberry is
That
the scary-
fucking
he
shit.
is the scariest enemy in Final Fantasy lore of all time, dude.
Dude, I've never dodged so much in my life.
And oh god, I was fucking raging, dude.
Tom Berry, I was like, does he still want to? Oh,
I was
dude.
getting reses up and he just walk over and be boop. Like,
Oh,
oh, dude.
dude. I haven't done the Sephiroth fight. Now, right before we end this, and I let everyone know where they can find you guys. I know Jeff hasn't done this fight yet, but Kitsurugi and Impervious, you guys have. I haven't gotten to Sephiroth hard mode.
no,
What was harder?
I didn't get.
That fight or Hell House?
I didn't get.
Right now, I have yet
You
to fight Sephiroth on hard.
Okay,
I
so we
mean-
haven't. None of us have fought Sephiroth.
Now, granted,
Okay.
I still
'Cause
think
to me, I haven't died to anyone except Hell House. That fucking how that
Lord
was
I think I
Tonberry,
spent-
dude.
4 hours, dude.
Oh wow, yeah, I spent
Wow.
about an hour. I spent about an hour on Hell House. I don't think I've had any other boss fight or any other fight take as long as Hell House in hard mode yet.
Well,
Yeah,
I think the
like,
gauntlet in Shinra building.
Oh, Pride and Joy, that's going to be fucking
Yeah.
toxic. I don't even want to think about that. You have to fight every summon and Pride and Joy at the same
can
time.
I state this? Doing the Creature of Legend, doing that one, the Creature of Legend was way easier than
In Hell House?
getting up to the fight, because that fight,
okay.
that training fight starts off Bomb, Tomberry, Type 0 Behemoth. That's a little bit stronger than the side quest.
Behemoth, you fight. Yeah.
Then Bomb and Tonberry.
Oh shit.
Then
okay.
a Malboro.
Wait. Oh Jesus Christ.
Did you say Mal? No.
Yes.
Yeah,
I can't
Malboro.
install my game, guys.
That's actually a trophy. If you're getting if you're trying to get platinum, that's actually
Not
a
to
trophy.
mention,
and Pride and Joy.
here's the worst part. The fourth enemy skill is bad breath.
It's small, bro.
Of course
Bad
it's
breath.
bad
Yeah.
breath.
So you have to take that hit, bro.
I beat him. I had Barrett, who had enemy skill on him, took the bad breath, didn't learn it.
Oh,
Rip.
I have to go.
Oh,
get
dude,
that
that
fight again. I'm like, oh no.
I loved doing this. I definitely want to do this again when the next part comes out, or
definitely.
even if we have any more theory crafting in the future. I just want to let everyone know where they can find you, Jeff. Where can they find you?
Yeah, guys, you guys can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Inspector_Jeff, INSPECTRE_Jeff.
I will of course be leaving all their links in the description box down below as well. Kitsurugi, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitch and Twitter, twitch.tv/Kitsuragi, and Twitter, Kitsuragi_K. That's KITSURRAGI. Wow, I forgot to spell my name.
I should have probably prepped you guys for that. Impervious, where can they find you?
Hey, you guys can find me at twitch.tv/impervious with a 0 instead of an O. On Twitter at impervious DS without the 0, spelled normally.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are excited, as excited as we all are.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think we're all fucking excited for the next part, and obviously you're going to be keep playing Final Fantasy and keep the hype up, and probably gonna I want to do this again in the future
For sure.
maybe talk about it some
for
more, because there's a couple things that we probably wanted to touch on but we didn't get to because of time. So we'll set something
You
up.
can do so much 3 crafting on this right now.
Oh dude, I could talk about this game all fucking day.
Music,
Like,
music lends a
2 hours.
Oh yeah.
2 hours just flew by, and I'm like, what? We didn't get to talk about anything. Like, holy shit.
You can do an entire thing just on the music. The music,
Oh, yeah.
so good.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.